Welcome to Hawthorne Hill Farm and Homestead. I'm Marilyn Cameron, and with the help of my husband Paul, we operate this lovely 46-acre farm property in the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia. Our children are grown and don't live with us anymore, but we still love this lifestyle and want to continue feeding ourselves. On our farm, we grow a wide array of market garden vegetables, berries, and orchard fruits, and garlic. Plus, we raise free-range hens for eggs, lots of meat birds in the summer. We have a flock of Shetland sheep for wool, and our newest addition to the farm is our family milk cow. Each week, we will post an episode that starts us off in the early spring and will continue until the late fall. We will show you all the things that we do on our farm to get ready for the growing season, how we care for our crops, how we raise our animals, how we make nutritional meals, bake bread, make cheese, pasta, preserves, and so much more. We hope that you will join us and will be inspired to try some new things that will help you become more self-sustaining and to fill your own larder. Thank you. But anyway, we're in the house now. I'm going to make leek soup for supper, and we're going to have fancy sandwiches, and I'm going to make rhubarb roll-ups. So I'll show you how I do those. So for the leek soup, just need 3 or 4 leeks, and I usually cut off probably the worst of the green and the roots. I usually take off 1 layer. Split them in half and give them a wash. I planted my leeks a couple weeks ago. They seem to be doing fine, growing, but they're still really little. So it's a pretty simple ingredient. It's vegetable broth or chicken broth. You saute the leeks and the onions in a little bit of olive oil. Get the olive oil in there, and an onion or 2, plus 1 potato for thickening. I'll go grab the oil. Okay. Cut up I have a little bit left. A couple of our shallots. I have a couple packages of those, or bags of those, and a couple bags of onions. We have small onions. They store the best. So as much as I like big onions, we have small families, so I don't tend to use more than 1 or 2 small onions per meal anyway. And they do keep really well. We do have a cold room or a cool room, but it does get actually pretty cold in the winter. But if I keep an incandescent light bulb going in there, I can keep it just above freezing, which is still a little bit too cold for onions. But it's perfect for potatoes, and it's perfect for fruit and stuff like that. But if you're going to store apples, the apples emit a gas that causes a more rapid breakdown of your vegetables, like potatoes, so you can't really store them together. So we tend to sell all the apples or make cider out of what's left, and then we do keep 120 or 150 pounds of potatoes. for the winter for ourselves, and we are definitely running out now. And then we keep onions and garlic, of course, and some squash. And everything else is sort of processed in some form or another, frozen or made into pesto or pureed. Leek soup is a pureed soup, so it's very smooth, and it's, as long as you puree it like really nice and long, it's really, really smooth. And then you garnish it with a little bit of milk or blend, something light, and then some chives. And the chives are coming up in the garden, so I'm going to go and grab some. Put those in a minute. Salt. Pepper. I'm going to throw the potatoes in now. That's sort of softened. If you keep your chives in a little bit of water in glass, it'll actually keep for a few days. So now I'm going to add 4 cups of water and an organic vegetable bouillon cube, maybe 2. That'll give it a little extra flavor. So I'll just put the broth in. I'm just going to lightly cover that, and I'll let that simmer 15-20 minutes, and I'm going to get the ingredients out for the rhubarb roll-ups. So lots of rhubarb this time of year from the garden, that's for sure. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So it is 3.5 cups of chopped rhubarb, which probably be, I don't know, 6 or 7 sticks. And the rest I'm going to cook down because I love rhubarb on yogurt and with cream. And tomorrow is the first day that we're taking milk for the house from Clarabelle. It's been a week today since her calf was born, and the milk that we're milking out twice a day seems to be pretty white, and haven't even tasted it. I'll taste it tomorrow, and I'm actually going to take a cup up of maple syrup and cinnamon, a little bit in the bottom of the cup, and I want to put some fresh warm milk in it and have a little, my first drink, and so it's good for them. So just going to give these a nice chop, see what we got. I'm going to do kind of fine for this because it's you make chopped rhubarb with sugar and cinnamon, and you let it sit for a while you make the dough, and then you're going to put it in a sweet dough and roll it up, and then cut it into little circles and bake it with sauce on it. So the pastry bubbles up through the sauce and it looks really nice. So you don't want your pieces too big for this so that they don't all totally fall out of the dough. They do a little bit, but sort of small, like this would be best. Yeah. Okay, we'll get all this done. So you need about 4 cups of rhubarb sliced thin. We just thought there's a lot of really nice red, parts to it. Yeah, and I find I like a combination of the green and the red because you get not too sweet, and I find if it's too sweet, it gets stringy. And I don't like the stringy sensation to stewed rhubarb. So I like kind of the old-fashioned stuff, but lots of tender, smaller ones mixed in with the bigger ones with green on them. Make wonderful pies, muffins, and this just there. So that is just about enough. So then I will put my cup of sugar. I think I'll put that in a bigger bowl so I can stir it. And then we'll put some cinnamon on it and let it sit while I make the dough. That's 1 cup of sugar, and I think it's a half a teaspoon of cinnamon that goes over that, just to give it a little warmth. It's not really a cinnamon dish, it's really just a rhubarb dish, but it just gives it a little bit of warmth there. So you just let that sit, and the sugar melts the rhubarb and makes it a bit soft. So I'm just going to chop up the rest, put it in a bowl, and we'll cook that later. So I have about half a pot of, it's a little more rough cut, this stuff, for stewed rhubarb. And I thought maybe about a half a cup of organic sugar on that would make it sweet enough. I don't add water to stewed rhubarb because the sugar, and you just start it on low, is going to make water for you. And so, yeah, you don't need to add any water. Just put it on super low. Okay. Now, when your soup's potato is fork tender, which they are, now is the time to puree it. See how it's kind of lumpy there? I don't like that at all. It needs to be a lot smoother. There, that's what you want. Smooth. It's very smooth, very smooth. I hope it's the last time I buy this stuff. Okay. Eyeballing, but I'm looking for about 1/3 of a cup. Like that. It lightens it up a little bit. If you really want to dress up leek soup, one thing that you can add is smoked haddock. That's sort of a Nova Scotia thing, I believe. And smoked haddock is really easy to find. And you just chop it up into little chunks and you just drop it in during the reheating phase, like just before you're serving. You don't have to cook it very long, just maybe 5 minutes. So it's perfect to add while you're reheating the soup if you make your soup ahead of time. So I've got about, I don't know, quarter of a cup of chopped chives here, and we'll just pop them in. There. Some people would prefer to put bacon bits, real bacon bits on their leek soup, but I think the Nova Scotia way is smoked salmon or smoked haddock. So I'll just leave that here to cool. Pop this one down closer. Get a new spoon for him. It's not burning at all, this rhubarb. Yeah, it's not burning at all. So as long as it's low, the heat is low until the sugar melts, you don't need to add any water. But if you feel comfortable adding a few drops, you can certainly do that. All right, so I've got the dough all to come together. I used maybe a tablespoon more milk than the recipe called for, but that's okay. And then now I'm going to make this sugar sauce, which is just a cup of water, a whole cup of sugar, and 3 tablespoons of butter. And you just mix that and boil it until it's a full rolling boil. And then you just turn it off and let it cool. And it will be the sauce that will go over your pastry roll-ups. Okay. So kind of pre-form it into a rectangle. I guess so I've got a greased dish, and I'm going to dump the rhubarb over the top and spread it out, including the juice on the bottom. It makes a bit of a mess, but it sure looks pretty when it's done. I'm going to roll this way, the long way. Just going to roll it in on itself. If you put sufficient amount of flour down on your board, it shouldn't stick too bad. But even if it does, just unstick it and carry on. And this time I'm just going to pull up on this side. You kind of seal in the edges a little bit. Okay. And you just do the best you can. Put them in your dish. Just pick up those few pieces, sprinkle them here and there. I'm going to let this rest here for a minute while the oven finishes heating up and that sauce cools just a little bit more. It's going to bring it down another 5 or 10 degrees, and then we'll pop it in the oven. So I just ladled in all of the sugar water here. So all of it in. And set the timer, 40 minutes. Serve with ice cream or whipped cream, cold or warm. Thanks for watching.